The marketing campaign behind it likely cost about as much as making the movie itself.
Barbie didn't just break through. It actually took over the conversation and made it so intentional and thoughtful.
It is one of the best pieces of content of the decade.
It's one of those rare moments where marketing didn't just exist to support a product, but it actually became part of a huge cultural moment.
When you know you have something fantastic, you gotta just keep doubling down on that thing.
This is what happens when a brand knows exactly who they are and isn't afraid to say something. Barbie did not try to please everyone. The brand and demand aren't opposites. This is such an emotional, playful storytelling that they had, and they created such a huge commercial impact because of that. The best kind of marketing is when you do both.
This is the best thing I've ever seen.
That. Let's talk about that.
Listen to this. Listen to this.
Memorable?
Well, then be less boring.
Boring?
Remarkable.
Remarkable. Remarkable.
Remarkable.
Oh.
I'm Ian Faison, CEO of Caspian Studios. You're listening to Remarkable. This week, we're talking marketing lessons from Barbie, both the campaign and the movie.
Hey, Barbie.
Yeah.
Can I come to your house tonight?
Sure. I don't have anything big planned, just a giant blowout party with all the Barbies and planned choreography and a bespoke song. You should stop by.
With the help of our special guest, SVP and CMO at Tableau, Rekha. How are you?
Thank you for having me. I am doing great, and I'm so excited to talk about this topic. It's such an underrated topic, and I'm looking forward to the conversation.
It is one of the best pieces of content of the decade, and I can't wait to dig in and also dig into all of your work at Tableau. And of course, we have some shared history together, worked on some campaigns at Salesforce, 6 years ago, which feels out about 100 years ago, which is crazy. So maybe we'll save that for the end. But first, why the heck did you pick Barbie to talk about today?
So first off, I am a mom of two girls, which means Barbie is an extended member of our family. And I chose Barbie mainly because of those, it's one of those rare moments where marketing didn't just exist to support a product, but it actually became part of a huge cultural moment.
Barbie, wake up. Hey.
I'm like you now, ugly and unwanted.
Thanks.
You just couldn't escape it. And more importantly, you didn't want to escape it because it was joyful, it was self-aware, it was provocative, it was incredibly smart. And as marketers, that's one of the things that we talk a lot about is how do you break through noise? And Barbie didn't just break through. It actually took over the conversation and made it so intentional and thoughtful. And candidly, it was such a reminder for all of us in marketing about how our job is so important and how it can also be very, very fun when creativity and courage come together.
It is something that everybody wanted to just sort of bask in the glory of how much fun it was.
Absolutely.
That's a great reference. Okay, so zooming out, tell us about your role as CMO at Tableau.
So I have been at Salesforce for almost 9.5 years now. And I had the incredible opportunity of doing a bit of wonderful set of products at Salesforce. I launched the very first SMB product. That's where you and I met first a long time ago, Ian. And then I created the very first agentic product with service for service agents. And then now I'm defining a new marketing category called agentic analytics. So I've been very fortunate to have a variety of new roles at Salesforce. And Salesforce, to me, candidly sits at the cusp of how companies think about their customers, data, and now AI. And Tableau has a very, very special role in all of that. Salesforce acquired Tableau about 5.5 years ago, and Tableau's mission has always been about helping people see and understand data. And now we are helping people do more of that and how they can act on data too. And Tableau has been a market leader for analytics for over 15 years now. My role at Tableau, which I really, really love, is about how we evolve this Tableau brand in this new agentic era, but also protect it from, it's such a loved product, a loved brand, with a community, with the belief that data is not just for everyone, it's for everyone and not just analysts. And we truly help people rethink decision-making by giving them those insights wherever they work. So to me, it's an absolute fascinating moment in my career to be able to do that with a brand that's just so loud.
Yeah, it's like community with the big C, you know? I feel like a lot of companies
100%.
have the little C community, and Tableau actually has a real one.
Yes, and it's a very fascinating group of people that love the product. I attend a lot of Tableau user groups, and one of the things you'll see there is they literally pick apart every small feature that Tableau has, and they go deep and talk about it. So when someone has that level of understanding and love for a product, it only makes us better. So I'm very fortunate to be here.
Yeah, that's fun. Meredith, what the heck is Barbie?
So we're talking about the Barbie movie, right? Which is the live action film starring Margot Robbie as Barbie and Ryan Gosling as Ken.
Hi, Barbie.
Hi, Ken. Hi, Barbie. Hi, Barbie.
Hi, Barbie.
Hi, Ken.
Hi, Ken.
Hi, Ken.
Hi, Ken.
Hi, Ken.
I got us both ice cream.
Cool.
And it's about Barbie sort of wondering if there's more to life than this living in her perfect plastic world. And the thing that I want you to know about the marketing campaign behind it is that it likely cost about as much as making the movie itself, which was pretty mind-boggling to me and something that I didn't know before. The production budget for the movie itself was $145 million. And though Warner Bros. Isn't revealing the actual amount for the campaign behind it, it's estimated to be around $150 million. So it possibly was like worth more than the movie itself. This campaign is described by Warner Bros. President of Global Marketing, Josh Goldstein, as a breadcrumb strategy. And he says, we gave people little elements of the movie to stimulate curiosity, and that created conversation. The first piece of content they released was actually just a single picture. It was released at CinemaCon in 2022. And it was Margot Robbie as Barbie in her pink Corvette. And that was kind of it. And that was enough to get people talking like crazy about it. Goldstein says it was one of those moments that took on a life of its own.
What was the first Barbie thing that you remember, Rekha, that from a marketing perspective? Do you remember?
Yes. So we were really looking forward to it. It's one of those things where you can take Barbie in so many different directions, right? Like you could make a movie about her life in a cartoonic way. You can make a movie about, how they made Barbies with Mattel, or there's so many different avenues you could take the movie Barbie. But for me, that pink Corvette scene that Meredith just said was just absolutely iconic. It actually made me look forward to what is the twist or what is the big turn that they're going to do with this movie. And oh boy, they did a huge twist with that, right? And when Barbie first came out, my kids and I went to the movies to watch that because we were clearly passionate about it and we just wanted to. And we talked about it for a very, very long time. It had that lasting impression in my head. And the real conversation was when I took a minute to share this with my then marketing leadership team. And we were truly dissecting every aspect of the movie, the pre, the post, the movie itself, in terms of, the values or how did they make this and what were the things that they talked about to get everyone hyped about the movie. And I remember saying, this is what happens when a brand knows exactly who they are and isn't afraid to say something. You truly thought about Barbie in a much, much different way. And we unpacked everything from the partnerships to the tone to the fact that they trusted the audience to be in on the joke. And it was not just a small little girl in a plastic world. It was much, much more than that. And it sparked a conversation, at least with my daughters, about bravery and, what it takes to have that resilience and have that clear point of view. And the biggest unlock for me was how it made everyone take Barbie seriously.
Yeah, it's so funny to think, this is like the point, right? Is that, they released this first look and see Margot Robbie in this old school pink Corvette. And she has this playful grin. And it's it's just crazy that that's the sort of first stepping stone to
right.
taking Barbie more serious, to open up dialogues with your children, all this stuff. It's masterful, storytelling, right? It truly is eye candy,
Yes.
to bring and the visuals and the stunning imagery and everything that went into it. to bring people in and to say like, oh, that just looks like a place I want to spend some time.
Right. And I would be lying if I said I didn't look up that Malibu Airbnb to be able to go there for a vacation too. The girls really wanted it, but it was booked for a very long time. But things like that, right? Like they brought Barbie back into center stage, into your everyday life in a way that was more natural versus being forced. And I think that, like you said, Ian, like it's the masterful storytelling that they have.
Yeah. Okay. So I want to dig in a little bit on the Malibu house, because I think that that's like, it is a key part of this entire thing. Like, and the reason why is it gets at this experiential nature of wanting to extend your relationship with the content. They could just roll out an entire business unit of Barbie that is just staying at Barbie's house. Like, and I don't know how much money they could make on that. But like you said, that Barbie dream house is probably booked forever. We should look up how
they don't do
long
it anymore. I checked. They don't do it anymore. Yeah.
This is crazy. Okay, so why on earth would they stop doing that? Right? It's like,
but I think
like,
it's the exclusivity part of it. I agree. Like, but I think it's the exclusivity part of it too, right? Like, you don't want to have that in every location. You want to make it exclusive, which is why I think they did it in that Malibu. It's just so iconic. But if you have it out there everywhere, then it kind of loses that excitement factor for me. So I get why they did it, but I do wish they had it a little longer, though. We would have loved to go. I remember contacting a few of my friends at Airbnb to see if there's like an inside way to book that, but it was booked for months, even years. They did it only for a year and a half. They were tracking it pretty hard. Yeah.
But see, I understand the exclusivity thing, but I think that this is like, in my opinion, this is like one of the things like we get in our heads a little bit as marketers, because you're like, because your daughter, your daughter. I don't want to bring up our all of our mortality here, but it's like, I have a 4-year-old who's currently, I think, rummaging through the garage, and they are only young once, and you're like, there is that window of time where you're saying like, it would be amazing. And people do this, right? Like for Disneyland or for Legoland or all these things. Like, I want to stay in the Legoland hotel. We went to Legoland this year and like, we didn't stay in the Legoland hotel. And we're like, we should do that next time. That would be super fun, right? And so I just think that those type of things, like from a marketer's perspective, you say, oh, we'll make it exclusive, we'll gate it or whatever. But like, maybe the answer is actually just that there would be, I don't know how many people that would go every year from the age of 15 until they're 80 years old, that every year they would make a yearly trip to go stay at the Barbie Dream House.
We would definitely be one of them. But I agree. But the cool part is they also had a lot of Barbie merchandise. So you could actually get that same, like bedside tables or bed frame even that you can buy. So we actually ended up doing that for the girls. So we have a piece of Barbie at home is how they put it, which is like, they had this pink, like, they don't even like pink as much. They're both like red, teal, purple color. So that's how their room is. But there's this one pink bed frame and the side table that they had that was in the movie. And it's very iconic in the Barbie sets too. But we ended up buying that because we felt like it was such, I love the movie about the bravery part of it, right? Like that's what I want the girls to learn from. It's not about, the being in a plastic world. But for me, it was always about the bravery or being able to speak your mind and doing what's right to your conscience. So that are the key values that my husband and I tell our girls all the time. So for us, it was important to have the girls like have that piece of Barbie in their room. So they had it for like at least 4 or 5 years. And I just gave it to my niece about a month or two ago. Yeah.
That's really cute.
Yeah.
Meredith, what else about Barbie is remarkable?
Well, that dream house, to come back to that for 1 second, I guess they had Ken list it for 2 nights only, and he listed it as free because they said he couldn't figure out how to put a price on it. And he said, Ken's thing is beach, not math. So you could have stayed for free for 2 nights.
That's crazy.
And I just love that they like really embodied the Ken character there.
Yes.
But as far as other like major paid, like parts of the official Barbie activations, Crocs did an official Barbie release. They had the little decoration things, gibbets or something like that. that you put into your Crocs. They did some Barbie things
The charms?
like that. Little
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
charms, yeah.
Yeah.
And then Gap created a Barbie collection. So
Yes.
they had a bunch of like official Barbie things. But there are lots of like unofficial things that I really wanted to highlight too. Because what I thought was part of what was interesting about this whole thing was it was really like a movement, kind of like Rekha, like you were mentioning earlier. Lots of brands sort of jumped on the Barbie bandwagons outside of that paid campaign. Is like anything pink, or they call it Barbie core or doll related. They sort of sold kind of adjacent, sort of like sidestepping licensing. Like Victoria's Secret started marketing all of their like pink lingerie and sleepwear, saying it was, and this made my eyes roll, they said it was embodying the movie of the moment with that. So they never said this is Barbie,
Yeah.
but they were like, everything was pink and it was
I think we
obvious.
call that being opportunistic.
Yes.
100%.
Yeah.
Yes. I read the term ambush marketing. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Is what I've was reading that it was called. So I thought that was interesting. Anyway, Goldstein from Warner Bros. Said the reason people think we spent so much is that it's so ubiquitous, right? So you're seeing it everywhere, that it's a combination of paid media and how many partners came to play with us, which I love how he said that.
Oh, I love that.
Because it pierced the zeitgeist. He said it has the impression that we spend so much. In fact, we spent responsibly for an event movie. Goldstein says, I've been doing this for 35 years. This is one of the most unique experiences I've ever had. So I'm wondering, Rekha, like, what is it about Barbie in general? And you've sort of hinted at it earlier. What is it about her that sort of inspires this kind of like passion and movement and wanting to jump on the Barbie bandwagon?
Oh, I bring it back to like the 3 marketing lessons that we could learn from that, right? Like for me, it was always about that, the point of view, having that clear point of view and not being afraid of what it is. The biggest thing for me was Barbie did not try to please everyone, knew exactly where her stance was or the movie stance was, and they let that play for them, and that worked like a charm. So you're not forcing people to adapt a mentality, and they're perfectly fine if you weren't part of it or you didn't adapt it. The second for me was also like the whole, the design for participation, just like how you said, Meredith, like letting the partners play was exactly how they thought about it. And for whatever reason, the Barbie audience, they aren't passive because they showed up really, really well. They showed up dressed up, they posted. I shared, we even had like one of our friends had like a Barbie themed party for their daughters and coming up. So they all became very quickly part of that campaign without necessarily forcing that or making that the core focus. It just so naturally happened, and it happened so beautifully. The last thing was candidly like the fact that the brand and demand aren't opposites, right? Like this is such an emotional, playful storytelling that they had, and they created such a huge commercial impact because of that. To me, the best kind of marketing is when you do both. You're able to have a brand that reaches people in such an impactful way, but at the same time, it creates that demand for revenue very quickly because of doing that. Some brands do it really well. Barbie was just a classic in that.
Mm-hmm. I also like how they included different, like it's not just the one Barbie. I thought that was an interesting choice.
Yes.
That it's multiple different kinds of Barbie. And so there's a little bit of something for everyone. So even if it's not the first Barbie that you identify with, it's inclusive.
Right.
Yeah.
We were,
beautiful.
We just did a haircut for my son, and his hair was looking all crazy. And it's like, he looks
Barbie?
like, oh my gosh, I'm blanking on her name. What's the...
Is it Kate McKinnon?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Her character.
Yeah, what is your photos now? Yeah.
I know, right? Well, after you cut, he has super curly hair. It's like after you cut curly hair, it like is, I wouldn't know. I don't know if I have straight hair, but it gets a little wonky. Yeah, I think so. Let's move into some B2B takeaways here. I think for me, number one is the sort of like, to use the big word, is the orchestration between paid and partners and media and user generated and like all this sort of stuff, that I think it starts with making something fantastic, right? And then I think when you know you have something fantastic, you got to just like keep doubling down on that thing. And I think what a lot of marketing teams do is like they have something that's fantastic. And then they just say like on to the next thing. And I've used this example on the show before, but like if you took like the, Coca-Cola polar bears and we're like, man, that was a great campaign. And then just the next year, all right, what's next? What's next?
What's new?
Year? Yeah.
Right.
And instead of going like deeper with that thing, and I think this is like really common. I think just first of all, there's a lot of turnover on marketing teams. So like you don't want to like promote somebody else's campaign. Perhaps. But I think that like there's just not like the depth of engagement. And what happens like when you don't have depth is that like you don't end up seeing it everywhere. You don't see the campaign everywhere. You don't see the product everywhere. And what was so cool about Barbie is that like it was inescapable, like you said, in a good way, where because everyone was talking about it, you could someone was going to bring it up to you. You know what I mean?
Right. You just like it was literally part of every conversation that I do, whether that was, at work or with my kids' school activities, or if I just turned on the TV and I saw Barbie just plastered everywhere, or even a billboard on 101, right? Like, so it was literally everywhere. You knew this movie was out there and you had to go watch it. Like, it just created that spark pretty quickly. And I agree with you. Like, a lot of times we think about that shiny new campaign, and sometimes those campaigns end in like a 3 to 6 months part of it. It doesn't necessarily outlast the year or even at that point, right? Because your attention span is just so short these days that you have to keep at it. Like you have to think about, okay, what's the next thing? What's the next thing? To me, success is always additive. Like if you're able to take a campaign and build on that over the years, that's a much better strategy than doing one every 6 months and just like thinking about the brand. You can't keep changing the brand's positioning, or you can't keep changing the brand's value. You dilute it immensely if you keep doing that year after year. A lot of factors go into it. It's like the being relevant in the market is also something that a lot of brands do care about, especially in B2B. And I don't think there is a single billboard on 101 right now that doesn't say AI.
Yep.
I literally do that drive every other day, and every billboard is an AI billboard. Yep. There was a time when it was all .com, and now it's all AI, and God knows what the next thing is. So the relevancy is key, but then it has to be an additive brand campaign if you want to keep at it and let that stay in the minds of people.
Yeah. I think that the partners thing is like really, really important. I think that the reason why they're so coy about their marketing spend is I don't think they actually spend as much as people think. I think that partners did like a huge amount of heavy lifting on this. And number one, that still costs money. This is like one of the things that drives me absolutely crazy when people are like, oh, well, our like content budget is only X. And you're like, yeah, but you have 15 people working on it, or 5 people, or whatever it is. And one of those is a senior executive who probably makes a lot of money. I'm like, that's not your actual budget. Like your actual budget is all the people that are doing all that stuff. And so for Barbie, it's like they were making all these connections. People were reaching out to them for sure. They were reaching out to other people, but like managing partner marketing is so hard. And in B2B, like it's like really hit or miss. But when it's done right, like you talk about the flywheel, it's like spinning the flywheel just yourself is exhausting. But if you can spin it once and a partner, one partner spins it, and the next partner spins it, and the next partner spins it, like that is truly how Barbie did so well. Like when you see it on people's Crocs, when you see it with everybody sharing the like crazy holographic stuff that they were doing at Times Square. Right? It's like you see the Malibu Dream. Oh my gosh, they actually did it. That goes viral on social. Like you're creating all these little viral moments that are all and they all add up, and they're all earned. Like they're all shared by the community. And like that's the big difference. It's like paid doesn't scale. Like if you just ran if they just ran like good ads, let's say they ran like really, or just using the trailer, like the trailer went viral, right? Tons of people sharing the viral trailer. If they just had like an old school mindset of like, okay, we're going to do this trailer. Then we're going to do like 3 or 4 more teasers. We're going to just keep teasing out the content. The content's good enough as it is. Then we'll do we'll show people at the theater coming out and interview them, be like, Barbie's the best movie ever. If they did like an old school and then like tons of paid and tons of, stuff like that, it probably would have still done gangbusters. It's a great thing, but it nowhere near the level that it actually did.
100%. And I think that flywheel is such a critical part of it. And no one has infinite budget. So if you want to if you want to have better ROI for your marketing budget, then you've got to think about other channels to amplify your paid campaign. And I think that partners is one great channel for us to be able to do that. Community is another big channel that you can definitely, the word of mouth and the virality that it brings is huge. So I completely agree.
I think that you just got to make stuff worth talking about. Mm-hmm. And if you're really honest with yourself and you sit down and you look at the stuff that you're doing on your marketing team, I think you could, I use this edutainment graph for like ranking our content, and education on the x-axis and on the y-axis, entertaining, and like just plot your content. Like if it's not a top right quadrant, like maybe don't do it. Right. And I think that like, if we just took a really hard look at like, is this actually going to move anyone? Would they wear the t-shirt? Would they share this? Like, is this something that's going to get people moving? And like the answer most of the time is no. And it's like, we do it anyways because we got to do stuff. And it's like, if we just spent more iterations on things that try to be more creative, try to think more outside the box, try to get out of the office and go do, go find partners and, jam on ideas together, or like go find a weird partner, like the Crocs thing. What's
the connection? Yeah.
What's the connection? It's so weird.
Barbie doesn't wear Crocs, but sure. Right? But yet it was such an integral part of kids' lives, right? Like I've had a pair of Crocs at some point. The girls have had it too. So it's like that integral part, being part of your lives and extending that. I really like what you said, Ian, which is something that we do quite a bit on Tableau's side too. When we think about like our content strategy, we think about our content strategy is very closely mirrored to how we think about products for Tableau, which is it has to be useful, it has to be human, and it has to be empowering. Like that's our fundamental bottom line. And the voice for Tableau has always been extremely distinct. It's the way I would describe it is like optimistic, it's curious, it actually is hugely, deeply respectful of people that work with data every single day. We actually put the data analysts on the forefront in terms of how they work, and they are such an integral part of every organization. So when we think about our content, we designed it to help people where they are and actually help them understand and make their complex things that they do every day more accessible and spark that confidence, because we don't want our Tableau brand to be an intimidating enterprise software product, right? Like we want it to be something that they come to every day. We want it to be something that excites them. We want it to be something that they are curious about their data and want to do more with it. So our strategy has always been about the clarity and credibility. At the same time, there is heart in what Tableau does, the brand itself. So there's warmth, there's approachability, because while data is serious, it's an important critical fuel for organizations. The learning and using the part of data does not have to be serious. It can be fun, it can be inviting. So we tread this balance of how can we make our product, our brand useful to people and empower them in ways that they've never thought about. And for us, if we zoom out and think about our content strategy, it has like 3 legs. The first one is always about the vision, like kind of teach them, give them what you're hearing. Like where is data, where is AI, where is analytics headed? Because there's a lot of opinions and thoughts on that matter, but where do you start? How do you think about it? The second one is actually education, like helping them understand the value of what Tableau can do in their everyday life and how to make it real with use cases, whether you are in sales or service or marketing or HR or operations, whichever team you belong, what can you do with the real use cases and how can really Tableau be useful and empowering? And then the last one is that proof factor, like showing more customer stories, more community folks using the product and that impact that the brand has. So for us, we are not here to like teach them how to think differently, but rather make a product or help them do their job a lot better without the struggle, so they can do things that are much more meaningful. And it's not about like a attention grabbing thing for us at all. So it's I love that for Tableau, the content strategy or our brand voice and tone is very similar to the product itself and how we build the product. So it's very, very in line.
Yeah, very cool. Any other stuff on Barbie before we continue that thread?
I'm yet to find someone who has not watched Barbie. So if there's anybody out there that has not watched Barbie, I hope this conversation has excited you enough to go watch it back. Or if you're still not interested in watching, please let me know why, because I'm definitely curious.
That's funny. I like that. Yeah, I mean, obviously, like it's remarkable that they have a toy that's like closing in on like 100 years old that is still like so culturally relevant. But I really think that it's so important that Mattel made just a very purposeful shift to just really understand like modern media and like go big on this. And I just think there's a million ways this could have gone wrong, and it didn't, right? Yeah. And it's like they really cared about the whole thing, and they tried to make it feel really special. And like, the story is fantastic. Like if the story had stunk, like a lot of this stuff falls flat, right? Like that's when the product doesn't back up the marketing, right? If you do all the stunts in the world to get someone in the theater and then they don't like it, then there's no viral loop, right? There, because that person is going to leave the theater, and not only are they going to tell their friends to not go see it, they're also probably going to post about it and tell people to not go see it. So obviously, like the product always has to back it up. But I think it speaks to like this old notion of like 13 impressions equals a sale, right? If 13 people tell you to go see Barbie, you're going to go see it. And it's like if you see it everywhere, you're just much more likely to see it. And I think movie marketing is really hard. You got to get people, you got to get the whole family out of the house. You got to go do the thing. You got to pay for the tickets and the popcorn. It's expensive and all this, but it's super memorable. It's what we talk about. It's what our kids talk about. They will never remember, not never. For the most part, they will probably not remember anything they've ever watched on Netflix. But they remember going to see Barbie in the theaters,
And how many times we've rewatched it, right? We've watched it way too many times. But to add on to what you said about the movie marketing, right? Like, at least for us, it's always something about like what's in it for each one of us. Like we are not going to go watch a movie because the girls will want to, like one of them will want to watch a movie. We usually think about, okay, is it enough exciting thing for all of us to watch? There are some franchises that we definitely be part of, but Barbie was something that it definitely took us all by surprise. I did not expect the way that story was shaped, and the hype definitely led. It was there once you watched the movie, and in fact, it went one notch bigger because of how well the movie was shot. So you're right. Like the marketing and product kind of mapped together. Like it was not one wasn't better than the other. It was actually very much of the same thing.
Well, and there's no level of trust with Barbie as a content creator. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like it's not like you went in. Like, to your point, like you did not go into that movie thinking, as an adult, I am going to be blown away by the story.
100%.
Whereas like if you go into a Pixar movie or a Disney movie, you're like, I know that they're going to pull the heartstrings. I know that there's like, this is going to be
it's emotional.
For sure. You go into Inside Out 2 or Inside Out 1 even, like you knew that you were in good hands from a storytelling perspective. You didn't know what was going to happen. Whereas with Barbie, like, it's hard to remember a time before Barbie, before it came out. But like, again, this is not a sure thing. Like, this is like, what is the story? It's a doll.
Right.
Like, so like, how do you...
Living in a plastic world. Yes.
Right. And
We
like,
often talk about like being real, being authentic, and I would have never categorized Barbie to be real or authentic before the movie. That was not my impression at all. Like, she would do things like what. As a matter of fact, I would remember telling my girls, "Don't be a Barbie at home. Like, you're not a passenger princess. Like, you kind of have to pull your weight. You have to do your job, sort of a thing, right?" So for me, that changed in entirety, or the image of Barbie changed once I watched the movie, because here she was standing up for what she believes in, and she's not afraid to speak her mind, irrespective of who the audience is. And she's such a loyal friend to her whole thing. Like that, to me, was not what or how I would have characterized Barbie before the movie. I have,
yeah,
I've stepped on enough Barbies in my life at that point, so I would have I would never buy another Barbie. But we actually we thought about it. Like the kids and I really wanted to see what that changed for us. So
yeah, I recently watched Lego Movie with my son for the first time because he's getting into Legos, and yeah, same exact sort of thing. Like I knew people talked about it. I knew people talked about how great it was, all this stuff, and I'm like, and I watched it with him, and the end has similar sort of a twist, and you're just like actually feeling in your feels a little bit. And again, like that, I mean, that was like the first movie that's like one of the biggest commercial successes like ever,
Right.
because of how well it did as a franchise, starting a franchise and also selling tons and tons and tons of Legos.
oh my gosh, yes.
But I think it's important to say what Barbie did with doing live action, Disney is doing with live action, and it's not good. And I think from a marketing perspective, when you have something that is working, that you need to double down, you need to go find the partners, you need to go find the crazy people that you can bring in on it. You need to go to the ends of the earth to figure that stuff out, because when you do strike gold, like you have to capitalize on that. And you have to, at that point, like go all in. And I think that a lot of people, something will happen, whether it's like one ad is like outperforming, and instead of like killing all the other ads and being like, let's go all in, this messaging is working.
Right.
It's like, this sort of like laissez-faire attitude. And I think specifically with content, like once you have something work, like if you have someone in your team that's posting and they're like doing crazy well, like there's this company, one of their random like sales engineers was like posting videos and they were like crushing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, go back up the Brinks truck behind this person. Like, you know what I mean? I'm like, go fund this initiative. I was like, this person is doing like thousands of views on these videos. Your views on YouTube on
boosted
your company.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And say like, okay, let's build a universe around this person. Like, let's do all this stuff. Like, let's get them speaking at other events. Let's do an event series where they're the host. Let's like go all in. Let's find other partners where they can do other things. Let's build a series for them. Like build this stuff. And that's the sort of stuff I don't know why. I don't know if it's just old school thinking or if it's just people, I don't know. I don't know why people don't do that, but there's just not enough of that.
No, at least understand why that's clicking, right? Like there must be something that this person is doing that is worth for us to dig deeper and understand. We watch a lot of that on our teams. Like we look for like social listening things that we do, which is, okay, who is talking about Tableau, whether that's an employee or someone from the community or customer, like what are they saying that maps? And respectfully and thankfully, we have a huge group of community that's just vocal about the product and the brand. So oftentimes, just to give you an example, once I took this job, I had like 100 requests on LinkedIn every single day. Like I'm not even exaggerating that part, because people are just genuinely in love with the product and the brand. Some are good, some are bad, but the focus isn't necessarily to go talk to someone who's saying negative things about the brand, but actually understand why they're saying what they're saying and kind of help them understand our story and bring them along the journey. So I'm with you. The importance of social listening is very underrated right now. And that extends on LinkedIn, YouTube, TikTok, you name it, any platform.
Well, and I think like as right now we're trying to look for an edge, like we're trying to look for ways to stand out. We're trying to look for ways to cut through the noise. I think, I gave this talk at Content Marketing World about how I think every CMO is now the head of a studio. And like, whether you like it or not, like you have a studio, you have green light control, you can green light whatever you want. And like, most people are not greenlighting the type of stuff. And part of being a studio head is you need to find talent. You need to figure out what are the
the
properties.
story.
Yeah, figure out the properties, figure out the stories. What are the different stories? You need to build a portfolio of different types of assets that can have different types of returns. And like, you know, what would you say like Lionsgate brand is? Like if you were to ask the random person on the street, you have no idea. But if
No idea.
Yeah, but you saw like one of Lionsgate films and you're like, oh, that's an amazing film.
Oh, that's
right?
the one. Right.
Yeah,
right,
that's for me, that's a great film. And so, and I think like, I think if I were to look back at like my time in marketing is like what I've missed the most is just like when I identify talent and I'm like, I know someone is super talented from a content perspective. I'm like, you just got to go all in. And like, we've seen this with our shows. I mean, we produce like 150 different shows. When you find a great host, the show is way better. Like it's not even close. It's like, it's way, way, way better. And yet, like I said, it's like we spend a lot of time promoting people who are not good at talking or not good at media. And maybe that person is great at something else.
Something else. Just not,
like, you know, a one-on-one or like office hours or, you know, whatever, or we just haven't found the right thing. So anyways, I digress there. But I really feel like that's like one of the things for Barbie is like, you have this huge thing. They're going to get it everywhere. They're going to do all this creative stuff. You have Margot Robbie, who's like, is this person now? And you can get her everywhere. Like, it's just, it's going all in, and I love it.
Right. And I love that they connected the dots from everything, whether that's, you know, the paid, social, or the merchandise, or you name it, right? Like across the board, they connected the dots really, really well. And that is the success. Like changing your perception about who Barbie is success for me, or how they did it.
Yeah, the final thing that I'll just say on Barbie, and I know we're going super long because that's what we do.
It's a great topic. Yeah.
I have no idea the marketing stuff and stunts and things that they did that didn't work. I have no idea. They might have tried all sorts of other stuff.
Sure.
I'm sure they did, right? And we don't know about them. And it's like, I think that so often in marketing, we're scared of our failures and we're scared that people are going to notice that we tried to do this thing. And like what I've seen in my career is that it's the exact opposite, that nobody remembers those because they don't care, because it's probably not even worth their time in this, you know, endless landscape of entertainment and media and all the consumption that we have now. It doesn't even register, but the wins like really stand out, you know?
Yes. And memorable. Yes.
And so like, you know, I'm sure that they did 100 other experiments on Barbie that we don't know about and we'll never know. And it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I'm going to go see if I can find any articles on that. That's interesting. Like you're right. Like the success definitely outweighs the learnings or the not so great ones that they did. But I would be curious to see what did they, you know, place a big bet on that didn't work. Actually.
Yeah. Rekha, wonderful having you on the show. This is so awesome. Our final question here: how do you think a CMO should think about their marketing strategy in 2026?
Keep it real. You know, that's all I can say. The biggest thing is there's just a lot of uncertainty and questions and anxiety about AI, or just this whole era that we live in. So the way to break through that is keeping it real. Whether you're learning, you're trying something, or you are curious if it would build as a product strategy or whatnot, right? Like keep it real with your customers, with your community, and that helps. What we do at Tableau is we actually bring our community along the journey as we think about whether that's a new name or new messaging, or even our flagship event called Tableau Conference, which is approximately 10,000 people that meet in San Diego for 3 days every year. We bring our community along. Like we actually get their advice on how to think about things differently. And some click, some don't. And it's always curious to hear their perspective. So for me, the biggest thing that I can tell marketers is keep it real. Don't sugarcoat. If you don't know something, that's okay. But if you know something, let's talk about it and let's help people understand that. But do not at any point in time make something up for the sake of being relevant. So keep it real.
I love that. That's awesome. For listeners, go to tableau.com and check y'all out. Rekha, any final thoughts? Anything to plug?
No, Tableau is a great product and a great, ubiquitous product for everyone. So if you've never learned about Tableau or if you're looking to understand what it does, definitely check us out. And if you want to do a free trial, please ping me. Happy to set you up.
Amazing. Awesome. Thanks so much. And we'll talk soon.
Thank you so much. Take care. Bye.